What's going on, everybody? John Arapola here with My MMA News, and today's guest just defeated Liana Pirosin by a first-round submission at Invicta FC 48. Pleased today to be joined by Kristina Williams. Kristina, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate the time, and congrats on the win.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Hey, no problem at all. So let's get right into things here. This is your first submission win since October of 2017. Three-fight winning streak for you. I'm sure the answer to this question is going to be that everything is going great, but I mean, how are things going for you? You have to be on top of the world right now. It seems like everything's kind of starting to come together for you here in your career.
Yeah, definitely. I got out of like some bad gyms and like a lot of like bad relationships and stuff, and so I finally gotten to where like, I think a good rhythm and like really good partners and really good coaches, and I've really just been getting better each time. I feel like.
And what are the emotions like for you too right now? Like you mentioned there, how you kind of had some like bad relationships, some bad gyms and whatnot. Is everything kind of just seems like it is perfect at this moment in time?
Yeah, it's pretty close to perfect as it can get. Like there's no drama going on. Like everybody's just very laid back, but just helping me a lot. So I'm just very happy to be where I am right now.
So let's talk about this win here. Normally, whenever I do an interview like this, I'm always breaking down fights by the rounds. Not too much to break down here because the fight didn't last super long. Just kind of give us a little breakdown of the fight and how you ended up getting that submission win.
So when I went in there, I knew I was going to feel her out pretty good at the beginning, and I started out slow. Um, I didn't try to control the center of the cage because I thought I was, returning well and beating her on all the exchanges. Like I really felt like I had a read on her. So and like when I caught her, I wasn't expecting to catch her like that, but it worked out perfectly, and I immediately went to the ground because that's what I've been working so much.
And you recently did an interview with one of our colleagues, James Lynch, and I watched the interview, and you said something along the lines. I hope I'm not misquoting. If I am, correct me. But you said that you were like catching her timing pretty well. That you were able to see everything kind of coming at you so perfectly. That's obviously not always the case. It's something that's hard to do. Just talk about that a little bit and kind of what was going on with that, because, but it seems like the easier a fighter's able to read somebody, I mean, the easier the fight goes, and it seems like you really had that timing down.
Oh, definitely. So every time she would throw, she would just throw like one or two. I knew that's what she would do. So coming in, but she would just throw one or two, and then I would return off of it, get out of the way, and not overcommit to anything. So every time she would do that, then I would make sure that I gave her more than she threw at me. So it was pretty. I don't know. I found a pretty good rhythm with it, and like her timing was exactly what I thought it would be.
All right, so now let's move to post fight. You kind of had like a mic drop type moment, like statement made. I have it in quotes here. You called for it, quote, whoever is going to get me to the title next. I think you sold it there. Like everything's so perfect about the call out. Just talk about that a little bit. And is that definitely the plan? I know we talked before we came on air here. You're saying that you haven't got an official word, but do you think a title elimination fight is what indeed is going to be next?
I certainly hope so. I feel like that I've beat a couple really good people in their organization, and I think I definitely am up there with the highest ranked ones in the division. So I think I should get it.
And is the plan, I'm going to guess, to stay active? I know there's a few cards coming up by the end of the year. Is that the plan to be active?
Oh, definitely. I wanted three fights, maybe four this year, but three would be perfect. And I hope I'm going to get that. But I fight so much better when I'm active constantly.
And here's a question I love asking fighters, and I love everybody's different takes on it. A lot of fighters will always say this, right? That they want to be active. Now it seems like you've kind of mastered it down there. But a lot of fighters, when they say they want to stay active, they end up either pushing things too hard or they end up winding up with injuries and whatnot. What are these keys to staying active and staying healthy and not having any setbacks?
So before, when I was training, I would train 6 or 7 days a week. I like barely took a day off, but in the last couple of camps, I've been making sure I take 2 full days off, and not like overdoing my sessions. I focus on quality now instead of just quantity, and so I think that really helps with not getting injured and like my body being able to like keep up.
So I do want to talk a couple long-term things here with you now. Obviously, I'm gonna go ahead and guess like any fighter goal is to win a championship. So step one here, right, is to win this Invicta championship. What would that mean to you to be able to capture a title in a promotion like Invicta? Obviously, it's produced so many high-level athletes over the years. So what would it mean to you to be able to chase down this title?
I think that it would validate everything that I've been working for. I've had so many ups and downs in my career, and I started out really strong. So it kind of like all the work that I put into it would finally be realized. So I mean, I would be on top of the world.
I bet you would. And what's like the long term thing for you? Like when you look at your career, is it to get into the UFC? I know you did fight in Bellator previously. That's typically usually the second biggest promotion. I know PFL and that is up there as well. But where do you see yourself when this is all said and done?
It would be a dream come true if I did get in the UFC. I think that, with everything that I've done, that would just be the icing on top of the cake. I mean, if it doesn't happen, then it doesn't happen. But I mean, that would definitely be like the pinnacle of where I could get.
And I want to ask you about your career here too, right? Because for me, I think like you said, you'd love to get in the UFC. I mean, it would make sense that one day that you would be there. Because when I look at your roadmap, right? So you're 6-3, but when you look at what your body of work is, right? We have Heather Hardy, boxing champion, Emily Ducote, fights for the Bellator title, ranked now in the UFC. Valerie Letourneau, right? Fought for the titles in both promotions. Juju Bellator champ, right? The list goes on. You have such a good body of work. Of course, you're going to have any fighter that has that body of work is going to have a record similar to what you're going to have. Do you feel like when people look at you or look at your record that you kind of go under the radar, that you're kind of overlooked, and that people don't take to credit for what you've done so far in your career, 9 fights in?
I do think so, and I think that's something that my opponent didn't think about in my last fight too. I think she overestimated herself and like who I had fought before, um, just a little bit. So I definitely think that people just see the number when they see me a lot of times.
So when you're somebody that's like this, or where people kind of overlook you and whatnot, do you kind of have like a chip on your shoulder when you come in on fight night?
Yeah, I like it when they do that because I don't know, it gives me more motivation and I feel no pressure at all. So this last fight, I went in like that was probably the least nervous I've ever been for a fight. I went in there like fully confident and I just had fun. So I kind of like it. It's been that way my whole career, and I prefer it that way sometimes.
Well, I can tell you what, a lot of people, especially in the Victor promotion, a lot of people don't have the body work that you have, and I know big things are on the horizon for you there. I do want to ask you about a couple other things, though, before we wrap things up. I want to ask you about one of your training partners, Sarah Alpar. I've gotten to interview her before. She's like one of the nicest people ever. She's such a sweetheart. What's it like being able to call her a training partner? And yeah, I know she was helping you out for this fight. Just how much did she help you out for it?
Yeah, she has been there for me through like everything. Like we were at our old gym that was, a lot of trouble together and like we left and trained together. And she hurt her back, but she's still like been a part of like coaching me and like helping me and but she's just been there to support me the whole time. She's like one of the best people I've ever met. We're very close. So I'm just blessed to have her around and she's been in my corner for both of my fights in Invicta. I'm she's my best friend.
Yeah, and she's such a nice person too. And I remember when I interviewed her, it was like right at like the time where the whole like Jake Paul thing happened. If anybody's watching,
Oh
so they're familiar
yeah.
with the story, of course. Jake did donate to her when I think she had like a GoFundMe set up for one of her UFC fights for to pay for the training camp of it. Obviously, I'm sure you're probably very familiar when all that happened. Just what was your thoughts when Jake did that? Because obviously, I know Jake's known as a bit of a bad guy here in the sport, but that was a very nice thing that he did.
Yeah, I definitely think so, but I also think it like kind of got her like look. I don't know. I think it made Dana a little mad, maybe. So I kind of like put her on the wrong side of the. I don't know. It kind of messed with things a little bit, but I mean, I think he likes to stir things up. It was very generous, definitely, but he definitely likes to stir things up.
You know, it's funny when you said that. I didn't even think about that too because it ended up after she lost, right? Because she was cut right after that fight. That's how that worked out, wasn't it? Right? Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about something like that. Is that something that I mean, I haven't got to talk to her, but is that something that you guys kind of both kind of believe in, or?
I feel like it did, but I can't say 100%.
Yeah, it's something. That thought didn't even cross my mind. So you said it, but that's something that's out there though. That's crazy. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to ask you about before we wrap things up here, I saw on your Instagram that you got to meet Anderson Silva, of course, huge legend of the sport. I'm
Yes.
sure that to be a huge honor. What was that like getting to talk with him and picking his brain a little bit?
It was really awesome. So I got to work on a little MMA technique with him, and he's such a good guy. Like he just jokes around so much, and like he doesn't act like he's anybody. He just is kind of a normal person. He'll laugh and joke around with you. It was awesome.
And did you take anything away from that little session you got with him there? Because it seems like, if for a guy that's older too, like he's still competing great in the sport of boxing. He still moves around really well and whatnot. I'm sure he had to be still like very sharp as somebody to learn from.
Yeah, I didn't get to do a lot of striking with him. The most that we did was like some MMA stuff on the ground. So I wish I had gotten to work a little bit more with that. But he definitely had some good technical stuff for me.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I appreciate all the time here today. It was great chatting with you. Really looking forward to seeing what you do here with the rest of the Invicta career and what's next after that. Last thing though, before you roll out, social media so people know where to follow you at. You have any management sponsors you got to plug? Floor is yours. Take it away.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Warhorse MMA, and my uh, Facebook is Kristina Warhorse Williams. My management is TKO Combat Sports, and my sponsors are Aerostructures, Chad Jensen, and then um, Sam Boyd with State Farm Insurance, KBT Equine, American Diesel, and JT Gravitas.
All right, Christina, thanks so much for all the time here today. Really appreciate it. I appreciate everybody watching today's interview as well. Please, if you like today's interview, please go to the bottom, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already, and keep going to MyMMANews.com for all of our great work that comes out every single day of the week. We'll see you later, everybody.